Don't start with me, please.
Okay, now just take it easy, will you? Was that Frank I saw turning the corner as I was coming down the hall?
Do you see what you're doing?
Jillian, I'm just trying to find out what's wrong with you. Now, you're not mad at me, are you?
No, of course not.
Well, and since Frank just left this office and you're a little bit overheated, I assume it has to do with him.
Well, your assumption is correct. Frank was in here with an invitation for me to accompany him and Ray on a campaign upstate. I was supposed to be there as the legal advisor, answer all the legal questions about the children's health care program.
Well, that kind of makes sense.
No, it makes no sense at all. Ray and I, side by side for 3 weeks, is sheer lunacy. Do you know what that incredible woman does? She accuses me of being the highly placed medical source quoted in this. Have you read it?
No.
Ah, well, it seems that a competitive paper, one of the reporters, was here last night and got onto the fact that Ray was driving the car during the accident.
I thought Frank had set the record straight.
He did. I mean, that's stated in the story, that he takes full responsibility. But they do it in a rather backhanded way. He looks bad, she looks worse, and she blames me.
Really?
Yeah, so we had one hell of a fight, and I'm kind of glad we did.
You're glad?
Oh, yeah. At least it's out in the open. I hate her, she hates me, and that's that. And Frank and I...
What?
have a couple of problems that I'm not sure we can solve. In the meantime, he goes on the campaign trip and I don't.
Listen, there's something you should know. I talked with a reporter last night named Davis.
What? That's the one!
Right. And that makes me the highly placed medical source that Mrs. Woodard was so upset about.
Seneca, why didn't you tell me that last night in the hospital?
I wasn't trying to cause any waves. He asked some questions. I answered them honestly. It all seemed more or less routine.
Doesn't even matter. I mean, maybe it's best this way.
Jillian.
Huh?
You have a long, lovely summer ahead. With Edmund to enjoy it with you.
Yeah. Frank has the campaign.
I don't know who I am more ticked at. You or Jill?
That, my friend, I leave entirely up to you. I'm going home and in a very dignified way collapse. Yeah, fine. Good luck.
Well, looks like I caught you just in time. Listen, before you take off, do you mind if we have a couple words?
Sure, Bob. What's up?
I just want to check out a couple things with you. About Delia.
You don't sound as mad as you were.
Yeah, well, I've cooled off, you know.
Well, Bob, I think I can tell you that she's making progress. She's kept all of her appointments with Al Pagano, and he's very, very pleased with the way she's coming along.
So what's it mean?
It means that I can't say that she's mentally healthy, but at least she's in touch with reality most of the time.
Well, that's progress, I guess.
Listen, I'd like to ask you a question, if I may.
Sure.
How did your mother treat Dee?
She spoiled her mostly, Roger. I think she felt guilty about being away so work so much. I mean, before she got sick, there wasn't anything Dee wanted that she wouldn't do.
She looked after her, took care of her.
Yeah. Made it kind of tough on me. You know, I was supposed to be a man, take care of myself and all that. Dee was little and timid.
So it started all back then, huh?
What started all back then?
Delia getting everybody to do everything for her.
Oh, sure. She's always done that. Sometimes she'd go to the damnedest lengths. She'd go to more trouble to get me or the Ryans to do something she could have done it herself.
And everybody just went along with it.
Well, I figured it was easier doing what she wanted than getting into an argument with her.
Well, hearing that just reinforces what I'm trying to do.
Well, Roger, just what in the hell are you trying to do?
Bob, we're not lovers, if that's what you're wondering. Which isn't to say that that couldn't happen sometime in the future. Look, I have compassion for Delia. I understand her, and I love her. But I want her head on straight before we consider anything like that.
Sure.
Look, you know, it's very strange that our relationship is more intimate now than most lovers.
Well, you care about her. That's the main thing, I guess.
I care about her enough not to take care of her.
That's one way to look at it, I guess.
It's ultimately very self-serving. I want Delia to grow up.
Roger, do you think that's possible?
Bob, I know it is. She is very capable of taking care of herself. And she's going to realize that she doesn't need help to operate. She doesn't need people to tell her what to do.
Oh, if that could happen, Roger.
It will. And when it does, you're going to see a grown-up Delia, not the eternal child.
You know, I keep thinking what you're doing I should be doing, but I just can't do it. I haven't got the patience. I wouldn't know where to begin.
I think it takes somebody outside of the family. Look, Delia is very guilty and ashamed right now, and she can't face you. But she's going to be better, and I think you're going to be pleased with that change.
Well, I'll tell you what I think. I think you're damn good for her.
Thank you, Bob. I hope so.
I'm sorry if it made you angry, but the time had come to clear the air with Jill.
Well, were you clearing the air or making trouble? Because accusing her of being the source of that newspaper story was entirely unwarranted.
Frank, I am not a mind reader. I'm not certain who talked to Davis. There is only one thing I am sure of. A highly placed hospital source chose to elaborate on that police report. Now, that does tend to narrow the field. Jill was there in the emergency room. She knew that I had claimed to have been driving in order to protect you, and she disapproved thoroughly of what I was doing. However, if you were satisfied that it was someone other than Jill...
I am.
All right. I will offer her my apologies the next time I see her.
No apologies, no accusations, no discussions of any kind. Stay away from her.
Well, that's specific enough.
You don't like her, she doesn't like you. Now, that puts me in one hell of an awkward position because, well, I happen to like you both. Now, look, I intend to marry Jill. At least I hope I'm going to. And I also hope to stay in a political partnership with you.
I hope so, too.
But if both things are going to happen simultaneously, then I am going to have to keep my personal and my professional life strictly separate.
Frank, that's impossible, and you know it.
It's impossible if you insist on confrontations like this afternoon.
It is impossible because Jill and I each have our own ambitions for you, and they are diametrically opposed. Now, I hope you don't have to choose, but I think you better at least accept the possibility.
Are you saying I have to give up the life with the woman that I love and being a father to my son because I also want to get elected to the Senate?
No. I am saying that you cannot be the kind of father, companion, and lover that Jill and Edmund seem to need and still conduct a political campaign. And I've been saying that for months. She's, not coming with us, is she?
No.
Well, couldn't you think of it as a blessing in disguise, you know? Come on. It's a period for the two of you to cool off. You go off and do your job, she will have an unrelieved dose of single parenthood. Who knows? By the time you come back, she may welcome you with open arms.
Oh, am I interrupting?
No, not at all. Come on in.
Well, there's a story here that I think you will both be glad to see.
Really? Where is it?
Right there, Jack Vanelli's column.
Diogenes, where are you now? Found Frank Ryan, an honest man. Oh, Frank, an honest man. Come sit. Look, this is wonderful.
Repudiated? Repudiated his campaign managers ill-advised and clumsy attempt to protect his good name. That's not too bad.
Ah, it's fantastic. Finelli's being very generous. Now, you come off as Mr. Integrity. And I come off as impulsive, well-intentioned, and a bumbler.
Yeah, this is terrific.
Sensational.
Maybe honesty is the best policy.
It does not hurt to have a good relationship with the press. Alicia, send Mr. Finelli a bottle of fine old scotch.
I'll call the liquor store.
Wait a minute, Ray. First of all, Jack is a bourbon drinker. And second of all, if you send him any sort of a gift, he's going to take it as some sort of a tip or bribe, neither of which will go down very well.
Scratch the scotch, I'll send a note.
Good.
Well, I don't mind coming off as a villain if it doesn't reflect badly on you. All in all, I'd say we got through that accident in relatively good shape. It'll be all right with Jill.
You think so?
Mrs. Woodard's apartment? Yes, just a minute, please. Dr. Bolak for you.
You're home.
Yeah, I was waiting for you.
You look particularly lovely tonight, Delia.
I'm trying, you know. Roger, this had to be one of the worst days of my life. Cried myself to sleep, and then when I got up from my nap, I took a bath. Did my nails. Kind of got the misery out, you know?
Good, good. Listen, is there any food for tonight?
Roger, look, don't you realize this was one of the worst days of my life?
Pat not saying hello to you at Lamb's. You're going over to the Ryans and finding them totally unsympathetic does not constitute a very bad day, do you?
Yeah, well, that's the way I felt it.
Old patterns don't vanish overnight. But tell me, when you finished your fingernails, did you think of anything for dinner?
No, I wasn't hungry. How you like my hair?
It's very pretty.
I kind of thought you'd take me out for dinner.
Delia, I took you out to lunch.
Yeah, but lunch doesn't count, because Patty came in there and he ignored me like that. I got so upset I couldn't eat it all.
Not tonight, Dee. I am very tired, and there's a few chapters that I have to go through in this medical book that just came out.
How about just for a little while, okay? Because we don't have any food in the house. Really, I was too upset. I couldn't go to the store, and I think we have 3 eggs, something like that.
I'll settle for an omelet.
Oh, Roger.
Yeah.
Well, what am I supposed to do when you curl up with a good book?
Delia, I would hardly describe modern trends in intracranial surgery as a good book, at least not the way you mean it. But it is first rate.
Thank you. Thank you for making fun of me.
Delia, I am simply defending my right to come home and have a nice, quiet evening after a hard day's work in the operating room. That's a long day on your feet, Delia. Surgeons do not sit down.
So you're going to punish me because I took a nap?
I'm not punishing you at all.
Then why won't you tell me if we can go out?
I've already given you the answer.
No, you didn't.
And I loathe repeating myself.
Well, would you just tell me what I can do this evening, okay?
What would you like to do?
I want to go out.
Excellent. Why don't you?
I can't.
Oh, why not?
Wait, Roger, I can't go out alone.
Well, maybe there's somebody that you'd like to call.
No.
Well, If there's no one you'd like to call, then I suppose that means you're going out alone.
Wait, Roger, you're gonna let me do that?
Delia, I am not your keeper. I don't set rules as to where you go, or when, or why.
Yeah, well, how come you told me I wasn't supposed to go upstairs?
Delia, you really have a first-rate mind, and I don't know if I can explain to you the difference between my saying that you can't go upstairs and disturb my sister and brother-in-law, and at the same time tell you that you can go anywhere you please. But there is a difference.
So you're just gonna let me go out?
Yes.
And if I go out and I stay out real late, that's okay?
Delia, you are old enough to decide what time you should come home.
In other words, I'm supposed to be a strong and an independent person.
Exactly.
All right, then I'm gonna go out. I'm gonna go out right now.
Have a good time, Dee.
You know, if I go out and something happens to me, it's all your fault.
No, it won't be my fault, Delia. If you get into trouble, that'll be your fault. Now, let's not get confused about that.
Don't you even want to know where I'm going?
Not particularly.
You don't?
No. Would you like me to tell you what chapter I'm reading right now?
Oh, you're mean. You're really mean to send me out like this.
Well, if you don't like being out, you can always come home.
No, I wouldn't come back here. I would die of boredom. No, I'm gonna go out, I'm gonna have dinner. I don't know what else I'm gonna do. You know, this is a very, very big city.
Dr. Bolak, to what do I owe the pleasure?
Hello, Ray. I'm calling to apologize.
Apologize?
Well, apparently you're under the impression that it was Jill Coleridge who talked to that reporter about Frank's accident.
Yes.
Well, I don't want Jill blamed for something that she had nothing to do with. I'm afraid I'm the highly placed hospital source, although the reporter I talked to already had the full story from the police reports.
So you were the one?
Well, to the point that I confirmed what the policeman on duty had already told Mr. Davis. I hope you understand, Ray, that there was no maliciousness on my part towards you or Frank.
Well, of course I do. I mean, don't give that another thought. Of course I understand. And in any case, the important thing is that no harm was done. If you want to know what I mean, take a look at Finelli's column tonight in the paper.
I will. Thanks. Bye.
Bye.
All right. You were right, I was wrong, and I am sorry Jill was not the one. It seems that the reporter talked to both the policemen to whom you gave the statement and to our own Dr. Bolak.
Could he have done that on purpose? Or am I getting as paranoid about Seneca as you are about Jill?
I really don't think he did. Alicia, would you please have 25 copies of this runoff? I think a small select mailing of that is in order to make sure that some people who are rather highly placed don't miss it.
Yes, Ray.
You sure an apology from me to Jill isn't also in order?
Absolutely sure.
Do a terrific apology when I set my mind to it.
Leave it alone.
All right. Listen, if you ever do feel that any mea culpas might help out, all you have to do is ask.
I know. Thanks.
I really am sorry for the trouble. And I'm sorry if you're disappointed because she won't be with us. But it really is the best thing.
Maybe, I don't know. What we really need is to spend a nice long weekend on a sandy beach somewhere.
What a very lovely thought. And I'm sure it will come back to you from time to time. However, may I suggest that between now and November you put it to the back of your mind and concentrate on the job at hand.
That is exactly what I'm going to do.
Terrific.
I'm going to stop by my parents', then over at my place to pack.
And tomorrow will be the beginning of who knows what.
It'll be a good trip. We'll really get this campaign going, huh?
Yeah. And do tell Jill that I regret the mistake when you see her at least, will you?
Sure.
Good luck.
It's all right, Alicia. I haven't lost my mind. I'm just celebrating the fact that I will not have to cope with Miss Coleridge for the next few weeks.
She isn't going with us.
No, she most certainly is not.
Which means it's gonna be an absolutely fascinating trip.
Tonight, the roles are reversed. She won't commit, and he won't stand for it. Sounds like a job for the guy who wrote the book on relationships. An all-new Greg Barron's Wake Up Call, part of Sugar Free Valentine's, tonight at 10 on SoapNet.